boy! What? What? Oh no, I can't hear you. The music's too loud. All right, guten Morgen. How do you like it, the gold? Thanks, Brinsley. How do you like it, the gold? I like it just fine. Cool, good morning, everybody. Yeah, we'll take a look at the gold. Jimmy says, looks like Georgia's gone demi. We got the demi glaze on. It's going to be interesting. So without further ado, I guess I'll say good morning. Let me mark this as the beginning of the rest of our lives. Okay, yeah, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Yes, we have ADP coming up, but we're also looking at the outcome of last night's election, and it looks like Democrats are doing very well. Warnock has won a seat. The first African-American senator from Georgia, and the first from the South in hundreds of years, I believe. So it should be very interesting. And then Purdue looks like maybe Ossoff's got him. I don't know. It's too close to count. So this is going to get interesting. It's sort of like the worst case scenario, best case scenario combined. Because what that means is we have now massive uncertainty. Not just because the Democrats will now control the Senate if Purdue loses, but it's really close. It's very, very close. But we still don't know who Biden's cabinet is. We still don't know what his policies are. We could assume if the Democrats win both Senate seats, which they got 1 out of 2, and they almost got the second one. So if they win both, what does it actually mean? People are like, oh, well, we're going to go communist. Okay, hold on. But we still don't know what it means. Like, we don't know what proposals they're going to put through. There's a lot of assumptions that taxes will go up and spending will go up and welfare will go up and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, that might be true, but like when and by how much? And to whom? Well, we don't know that. So that'll make 2021 just a whole bunch more interesting. Maybe not profitable, but maybe profitable. But that uncertainty makes it more interesting, more difficult. So without further ado, let's get on with the rest of our lives. So let me remind you that traders, sorry, I'm thinking about nine different things at once. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Hey, good morning. Hey, if you look left and if you look right, you'll see 17,000 other foreign exchange traders just like you. So welcome to Forex.Today. I think that's pretty cool. Camera's still not quite right, huh? It's going to be difficult. What if I do this? Okay, I'm sitting on the floor now. All right. So anyways, good morning. Good morning. So welcome to Forex.Today. What do you want to talk about? Technical analysis? Sure. Fundamental analysis? Sure. We have ADP coming up in about 10 minutes. That's usually enough news so that we can get a scalp in. All right. What else has gone on in the world? Well, we have this election, which I've already talked about. The outcome is probably going to be known today or tomorrow. Dems probably have it, I'm thinking. So that'll be interesting. Also, remember that OPEC meeting they were supposed to have on Monday and they canceled and then they pushed it to Tuesday. Well, if they've eventually gotten to a cut Wait, they're cutting 1 million barrels a day. Did I get that right? They're cutting production by 1 million? Wait, I thought they were trying to raise production by 500,000. So instead of raising production by 500,000, they've cut production by 1 million. Well, what the heck were they talking about? So I need to do some research because that's come out while I was sleepy. Saudi is the only one cutting. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, less oil is less oil. Yeah, we know they want to raise prices, but so anyways, yeah, that's interesting. Russia will keep pumping, of course, and Americans too, right? It's not like the Russians are the only ones, right? Americans are just as bad. But anyways, that was sort of a blind side a little bit there, so I have to make some adjustments with my analysis. Okay. So anyways, so wow, we're all over the place. Yeah, so the other thought process that we're probably having here is whether this will affect the great profit taking of the early part of the month. Well, it will happen, but it'd be deferred, I think. So we, on Thursday when I meet with the swing trading group, we'll probably have to go through the charts and find years where we had a delayed, right, a delayed retracement, and get a better idea when that could be. But I think the market's going to just do this general random assumption. Remember, most of the market's stupid. They'll say the Democrats won, boom, and off we go, right? That's going to be good, and or whatever. That the Democrats are going to spend money and all that. Okay, I think it's a little more complicated than that, and we will talk about that on Thursday. So, anyways, thank you for being here. Ask questions, get involved, take notes, leave comments, do the thumbs up likey, please. And thank Traders Way for being part of our community as well. You're going to need a broker. You need an execution partner to be a successful Forex trading business, one that you actually like, one that has sort of a common sense approach to business. And how about someone that is sort of investing into your success up front? They care about your education. Why would they care? Why would a broker care about your education? They actually prefer it if you succeeded as a trader. How interesting is that? So anyways, thank you, Traders Way. Thank you for being a subscriber, and let's get on with it. So right now we have dollar weakness, yen weakness. That is risk on. CAD mediocrity, recovering euro, but you would assume the euro and the dollar, right? And then Aussie's really taken off. And I guess I have to reset this. All right, now I have to fix that. Anyways, all right, so yeah, I'm going to move this around. So Aussie and Kiwi, Oscar Mike. Okay, so I got to adjust my strategies. Let's take a look at yens first. Okay. One of the benefits of trading well defined by entering at the proper prices, even though the whole world has gone gobbly-goo on me, right, this was supposed to be down here, but even though the world has gone gobbly-goo on me, Wait, this isn't going to work either. I haven't rebooted my machine. Yeah, it still don't work. Close. Here's my entry. Very logical entry. We can put a template on here. Let's go Confluence. Okay, I entered in a very logical way at a very logical price for a very logical reason. And by and large, that reason may have been wrong. Okay? But because the entry was, as good as one could hope, even though the world may have changed, I'm still on a half-decent trade. Okay? So now we're caught between the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot, and my giant risk-off idea would produce something like that. Do I feel good about this trade right now? No, not at all, but I shorted at 41, and now we have a retest at 40.50, and that's that. And it's either going to head down or it ain't. But I had, what did I have? I had a euro dollar and I had something else, and they've busted out. So I have to now make the more, the more difficult decision is whether I give up on the risk off idea or try again. And that's complicated. That's why I say, like, the outcome that we're getting with the Georgia election just mixes things up where you need to make a decision and you're going to probably need to stick with it. And then have a predisposition or a pre-thought process, if you will, of knowing when that thesis is truly wrong. And that is much more complicated than just sort of blindly just sell or buy something, okay? So the market, I think, can interpret the results in different ways, and therefore the market can give you different outcomes, okay? So anyway, so right now, there's no reason to get out of this except to take 50 pips profit, but I'm not interested in that. Actually, it's more like 70 pips profit, but who cares? So I'm going to leave that, okay? But can you see, like, if I had entered late, right? If I had entered late, I would be out of this at break even because I'm in right at the double top, right on the monthly M3, right on the psych level. I could still maybe potentially make money, right? You see that? And if it doesn't, well, at least I still have that clear shot, right? I'm looking at the net, so I have to take the shot. Yeah, there's a chance I hit the rim and it bounces out, but I got the shot, and I can't lose money, right? Okay. So that's interesting. So too close a call. Everything else is taken off. So it's just that I guess the other thing I'm trying to say here is not only did I sell a yen pair, I sold something I perceived as being the weakest of the pairs. And because of that, I'm still profitable. Where if I had done the same strategy at the exact same time on Aussie, I'd be out, potentially with a loss, right? If I had done the same thing on Euro, I'd be out and possibly with a loss. Same setups, but I just sold what I perceived as being the weakest of the bunch. And because of that, instead of losing money, I'm still making money. Now I'll probably end up, breaking out at break even, but I still have a chance. Yeah, Adam says you did mention that these dollar pairs could move up before they come around. That's true. So that's why we have to, but see, that makes it complicated, right, Adam? And that's what I was saying. Like, I'd rather just have sort of the dumber's not the right word, but let's say the more basic investment thesis of the Fed said one thing, the government's likely to be predictable and no major changes, so therefore we just have this flow. Well, any change now that can happen, and look, we have a new president, a new cabinet, and a power shift in Washington, D.C. They can do a lot of different things that could be, I don't know, there is no good, bad, or ugly, but they could do a lot of things differently. And now I have to readjust to say, well, how is this going to impact? Like, for example, no, I need this drawing tool. Hang on. Let's see if I can get this drawing tool to actually work. It won't. Maybe if I Control-Alt-Delete. Hang on. Control-Alt-Delete. And pull up Task Manager. And I force it. Epic Pen. Okay. Because I think maybe it was sitting in the tray. Okay, so now let me try opening it again. Yeah. Feels like it's rebooting. There it is. And good. Nice. Can't hold me down. All right. So for example, let's do this. Template blank. Okay. Now that let's assume the Democrats have control of the Senate, the House, and the White House. Okay, great. What new legislation are they going to pass? See, we don't know, but you tell me. What are they going to do? What changes are they going to do? Okay? Green New Deal. I don't even know what that means. What are they going to do? Right? More stimulus, tax increase. Okay, so Green New Deal, probably, right? So anyways, let's do it there. Okay, increase spending. And to pay for it, they will increase taxes, right? Okay? All right, so those are two things. So let's talk like an economist would talk about it. GDP equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Okay? So now show me what they're going to do. Okay, increase G. Look, my mouse is dying today too. Man, this might be a short webinar. Okay, they're going to increase spending, so we'll call that spending. What was the other part? What about taxes? Probably weaker consumption because they'll tax people like me. Don't worry, there's a way around it. And then the other way is also they'll tax businesses. So they'll have less money to spend on investment. And consumers will have less money to spend on stuff. But the interesting thing is wealthy people don't tend to spend their money anyways. And poor people spend every penny they have. So we'll just leave it like this. Because wealthy people are not consumers. Wealthy people are businesses. They own trusts. They own LLCs. So on and so forth. They own stock in businesses. So rich people are investors. And consumers are poor. And they spend every penny they have on crap they don't need. All right, cool. So how does any of this affect X minus M? So now we have to isolate a little bit here and say, well, if you compare not policy but administration, okay, we have exports and we have imports. It's going to make them two colors, but anyways. What did Trump do to imports? Well, Trump would do trade wars, right? So if anything, there will be no more trade wars. Now, Biden will play the game and unwind things with China over a long period of time because we already have the power. So Biden inherits that. Okay. Okay. So what? So maybe just because Trump's not doing a trade war, by the way, a short-term problem to a long-term, a short-term problem from a long-term solution. All right, that the trade wars needed to happen, even though they were unpopular. I give him a lot of credit for that. It needed to be done. So now we're going to cancel all that and unfinished and go back to the same deal we cut in the 80s with China. A lot of things have changed in the world since the 80s, yo. But so imports go back up to, let's say, normal levels. Okay, but so we'll just put this back to normal. So there's just less negative gets us back to there. Will we export more? Probably not. Okay, but do you see how this kind of offsets itself? And in this case, the government spending will not likely lower the dollar. Because what we need is imports to go up significantly. Okay? But by spending money and raising taxes, there's very little change in the money supply and therefore the value of money. So we're not critiquing a policy. Okay? We want to know how much money there is in the economy. Okay? Quantity and value, if you want, right? So we're doing supply side analysis. Okay? So, for example, if the administration, the government, increases spending, right, then the supply of money goes up, the value of the dollar drops from here to here, you see? But what we might end up doing is bringing it back some or most, because increase in taxes will be less spending by businesses. Okay, and you'll get some spending on consumers. So we'll see. That's funny. That is C. So time will tell. Depends on what the consumers do. And I guess if they buy stuff at Walmart, maybe that pushes up M. But depending on the way people behave, excuse me, it's less clear whether the dollar will weaken or not. Okay? Right? Because business investment could drop, consumer spending could increase, but what if they, right? If one is rising and the other one is falling at the same time, what's the net difference? And it could be very little, is what I'm saying. The goal isn't to weaken the dollar. The consequence of the goal weakens the dollar. Okay, it's the consequence. It's not the point. Okay? So a Republican, for example, would say something like this. We're not interested in increasing government spending. We're interested in increasing consumer spending and business investment by making everybody rich. So you would want to lower the tax. And this spending will increase imports. Okay? And because we're increasing imports, we're exporting our dollar, the dollar weakens, and now American products become more competitive because the dollar is weak, so exports go up as well. Now, imports there still might be a huge trade deficit, but if you can get the trade deficit to stay 60 billion, but let's say imports go up by 20 billion and exports increase by 10 billion or 15 billion, they're still both going up, but M is bigger than X, right? It's like little x versus big M, but if you can still get X to go up because the dollar's weak because M is so big, okay? And now you don't need much from the government because consumers have jobs because businesses are making money and investing globally, okay? So now we have to say, okay, great, that's one point of view for economics. Okay? So how do we reverse engineer this and say, well, if government spending goes up, okay, now what? Now, government spending is fine. So if we say stimulus, for example, okay, so that's the first part, right? What if the second part wasn't taxes, but just borrowing? Okay? This goes up, this goes up. Okay? Okay, this will go up. And then because of because M is rising, the US dollar weakens and therefore exports go up. Why? Well, it's free money. Okay? It's like giving somebody a credit card with a $100,000 limit and an interest rate of 2%. How many people would like a credit card like that? $100,000 limit at a rate of 2.0% interest. Not 20, 2.0. How many people would like that credit card? No? Nobody wants that? Yeah, 2% per year. Wouldn't that be great? They can actually borrow the money for less than that. So what will happen? Will you spend the money? Okay? Your standard of living goes up. But then 5 years from now, you decide, now, first of all, you're not paying down your credit card because you're like, it's only 2%. There's no need to really pay it down. So now you got $100,000 in debt, and you go to buy a house, and they look at your income to debt. They call it your equity to debt ratio, and they're like, dude, you don't make very much money, and you have a PlayStation 5, right, and a 65-inch OLED 8K TV, because the PlayStation 5 does 8K. Can you imagine that? So that's what you did with your 100K. You bought a $20,000 TV and a $1,000 console. Okay? And you're going to play Sackboy all day. Okay? But you will never be able to buy a house. So what's the consequence of this? Well, first of all, your debt gets to be a problem. That's right, Jimmy. I'd find a way to spend that money to make money. Okay? So when I was a kid in college in the 90s, back then they would give you your student loans by check. They'd give it to the student. And the student would walk down very studiously, would walk down to the school office, the finance department of the university, and you would pay for your classes. I highly doubt they do that anymore. Here, Mr. McDonald, right? By definition, if you're borrowing money to go to university, you're poor, right? Now, everybody borrows money. Something like 70% of Harvard students are on student aid. But anyways, I doubt they give you the cash. So they gave me the cash. Now, I'm a funny guy. I'm an entrepreneur. I can't help but make money. So they would give me thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to pay for San Jose State University, SJSU. Go Spartans! It was funny. You go to a football game, there'd be 6 people in the stadium watching our football team lose. So anyways, I would take my thousands and thousands of dollars and I'd go to car auctions and I'd buy like 6 cars. Fix them up, flip them, double my money. Then I would go to the university and pay for class. Boom! Yeah, boy! Can't hold me down. Yeah, I did that for years and years and years. Every time I'd go to a party, people would be standing around and people were like, what are you driving today? I'm like, I don't know, let's go take a look. Every time people saw me, I had a different car. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot, actually. Let's go take a look. Okay, so anyways, the consequence here, right? So yeah, if someone gave me a $100,000 credit card with a 2% interest rate, I'd make money. It's impossible otherwise. The consequence we're looking at, if this happens, is inflation. Okay. So, what will the Biden administration do? Well, the funny thing is, we don't even know who the Biden administration is. Okay? They don't even know who did. So I don't even know who's making the decision. Okay? No, well, we're not talking the Fed. That was government. I mean, the Fed is kind of the government, but what I was talking about there is literally spending outside of a budget or increasing your budget higher. Okay? So what have we spent now on COVID? $3 trillion. Holy schnickerschnocker. $3 trillion. And we're still one of the sickest countries in the world. Well, it's because we did a whole bunch of other stuff with the money. I think, 80 billion went to curing COVID. 80 billion out of 3 trillion. So that's why, right? That's one reason. But so anyways, this is going to be a very exciting 2021. This will be like I imagine it's kind of like being a Marine. You're on some beautiful tropical island, the warm breeze, the sound of seagulls, the crashing of the waves, surrounded by a beautiful mountain, luscious green jungle, and coconut trees everywhere, palm trees everywhere. And you're like, this is so beautiful. However, you're tiptoeing through a minefield. Every once in a while, you'll stop and you'll look up and say, this is so beautiful. I'm so lucky to be here, except I'm in the middle of a minefield. And then, all of a sudden you focus again. You're like, wow. Okay, this is going to be tricky. So I think that's kind of what it's going to be like for 2021. I think there's going to be fits and starts. I think there's going to be irrational exuberance followed by rationality. And that's going to be tricky. That's going to be tricky versus just do the same thing every day over and over and over again. So we're going to have to be smart this year. What do you think about that? We're going to have to earn our money. Okay. So luckily you know what you know and you know how to do. Is this a good price to buy? Wait, I missed ADP, didn't I? Oh, like 30 minutes ago. Anyways, there's what do we do here? Is this a good buy zone? I'm not going to do Lira because we can't trade it, Lewis. Okay. So how do we trade this then if you want to buy it? Oh, what did I say? Amen. A woman. What about that? What? What? Did I say something stupid? It's very possible. So down here, right? And next week's target's here. So that's logical. That makes sense. We could do this stuff all day, every day. So that's the rest of this week and next week. Now, scenario number 2 is a little different, and it would change the way I'd behave, and it would be more like this. Okay, what would be the difference? The difference is whether we're down here or, oh yeah, my mouse is having troubles. Oh, here we go. Or, okay. Okay. And these are the subtle nuances of being a swing trader. Okay. One of them means up, 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 up. I'm trying to get rid of the drawing tool now. Up, 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 up. And the other one is down, 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 down. And the interesting thing is that it's not the price, it's the time. Cool. Okay. So I want you to look at this, again, this sort of lesson I gave you today, the critical importance of knowing relative strength. I probably did the wrong thing for the right reason at the right time. Okay? I always felt all my papers at Harvard, and I must have written 100 papers. Every single one of them I felt was beautifully structured, beautifully written piece of crap. Like, it was a shitty idea to begin with, but my bibliography kicked ass, right? Like, nobody formats like Wayne. Okay? So beautifully formatted crap. This is potentially a beautifully traded piece of crap trade. This is based on risk off. And the world has changed a little bit, maybe significantly, maybe not. We don't know. But it's probably the right thing at the right price at the right time for the wrong reason. Oh, yeah. All my dollar pairs are out, right? Yeah. Oh, my mouse is really having trouble. So, but because I shorted the weakest, I was affected the least. And so now, you won't be able to say amen without following with a woman. Is that really what? Cool. Right? So there's hope here where we top out over the week. So think about it. Like Aussie was at a take profit zone, right? No kidding. It's just amazing. That's amazing. Well, they're politicians. You got to be political. No, I don't mind you taking gender out of everything, but if you say a man, you have to say a woman. Well, the word isn't a man. The word amen means something. Right? You know what I mean? Like, it actually is a word. They're not saying a man, a male human being. They're saying amen. So to follow it up with a woman makes no sense whatsoever, but I'm okay with gender neutral. So let it be written, so let it be done. Right? Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. Right? Just amazing. Anyways, the world is complicated. So, and because I'm in my mid-40s, I'm too old, and the world's passed me by. So, Harvard's an interesting place because, anyways, no, I don't need to go there. All right. Let's just say Harvard's in the forefront of all of that. Okay. All right. So, because even if my investment thesis might be flawed, we don't know if it is. I'm still profitable, so you can't say I'm that bad of a trade. But imagine with your mind's eye now. Think about it. What I just showed you. Okay? I just showed you Aussie dollar, and I put a big X, and I said, is this a good place to buy? And everybody said no. Is there potential, is there reasonable potential that there will be selling or profit taking at that price, according to our technical analysis? I'm not interested in your opinion. I'm interested in your analysis. So I showed you the chart. You had certain technical analysis tools up there, and they said this would be the worst place to buy it. Okay, so what happens if there is selling or profit taking? What happens to the Japanese yen? Theta says, how do you measure sentiment perfectly? Price. It's the only way to measure it perfectly. Okay. Okay. So in that case, what happens to my pound yen? Up or down? Yeah. Alton nailed the gold trade. Good for you. Yeah, somebody asked me for gold. I should switch over there. Okay, so I'm trying to get through to you today a thought process. Okay. Euro yen is going crazy. Ah. Okay. Okay. Can you see where the plan failed and why we do analysis? Okay. Okay. So I think I lost like 25, 30 pips or something on this one. I'm not sure if I moved it to break even or not yesterday. You'd have to check the video. Okay. Okay. So now you got this trade, but this is not the same type of trade. Okay. So again, on Thursday, when is Thursday? Is that tomorrow? Tomorrow, the swing trading group and I are going to go back and do some analysis. Okay. Okay. So this doesn't mean the general investment thesis is wrong. What we know is the timing right now is different. Now, we had scenario A and B. We're in scenario B now, so we'll have to pay attention to that. And I'm very happy to have taken a small loss on this trade because it did something that I did not plan. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I traded the double top at 23. And now this was supposed to bring it down and it went up instead. Good time to be gone. Also, do you guys see the reload? You should be able to see all of this through the lens of a bull's point of view and a bear's point of view. Look at how beautifully this was, okay? Now you get this, okay? You see then a breached higher, then a beautiful roll reversal. Oh my God. There's your scalp. Okay? Now if you were short, I doubt you took that scalp. Because it often creates hesitation, right? Unless you're just a wonderful scalper and you don't care what the direction is, right? And that's pure price trading where you're able to catch that roll reversal, not a problem. Because we know the basics of this, right? In the FX Bootcamp training courses, the breakout strategy is like a pretty straightforward one, right? So that's really nice. This looks like a place for profit taking. But anything could happen, right? Anything could happen. Cool. So I would rather, I want this to be a bear. I want to be a bear on this. But over the course of the next 3 weeks, could we see something like that? Yeah. Therefore, as a bear, I'd be more aggressive if I saw something like this or like this. Okay. Which would then set up a new trade here, right? So maybe 3 weeks from now, I'm short at 123 again. Okay. HK is shorted up there? You certainly can. Okay. I just don't like selling higher highs. I know there's a profit-taking trade in there, for sure. For sure, eh? But I can't do it. So I've been working on my Western Canadian accent. Oh, for sure, eh? That's really cool if you're from like Edmonton. I got to hang out with the Canadian boys at FX Bootcamp that with the French Canadian accent. Oh, I'd love to be able to do a French Canadian accent. I can't do it though. I don't know why. I got to hang out with more French Canadians. So one of these, like I'm ready to be let out of the cage. Maybe I go to Quebec. Let's go, you hoser. Take off, you hoser. Yeah. Yeah. No, I got to do. So where's the best place in Eastern Canada to meet up? I don't want to go to the TO. Too expensive. So are we going to meet up in Quebec? but right. How would you be a bear while the euro is getting, or while the dollar's getting weak? Well, see, that's the interesting thing. If the dollar's weak, why would you be a bear on euro? Oh, you're looking at like, oh, the euro economy is bad. Yeah, that's funny, huh? Swiss franc maybe, but you're going to have so much money moving to Europe because of the dollar that it'd be a weird situation to be bearish on the euro and being bearish on the dollar at the same time. I'm like, can you do it? I suppose you could. So if US dollar's weak, let's say the Canadian dollar's strong, so maybe you're selling euro against the CAD. But the thing is, if dollar is weak, euro is probably strong. So the trade setup doesn't make sense, that's all. So I don't know. So this is just profit taking, right? So like, so I could set this up differently. Oh, shiza. Okay, I still have this on. I gotta. All right. What were we doing? Oh, we were going to day trade it. Okay. And you can see, even for a day trade, it's too early for me. Like, I know what you're doing. Like, I understand this is a counter trend. I understand this is profit taking, right? It's clearly outlined in the course. But I think I also say it's obviously going to come down, but I don't like selling it. Because in the back of my mind, flawed or not, man, you're going to get banned. Like it or not, I'm a trend trader. So I generally I'll say, look, this is where people are going to take profit, but I don't like selling it. Now you totally could, right? And, but you're picking up pennies and all that, but you could, there's nothing wrong with it. There's a reasonable chance we'll be down here tomorrow. So, I mean, it's a pretty decent trade, But here's how I boil things down. Okay? Now, this is all set up to sell. You see, bearish sell zone, bearish sell zone, bearish sell zone. But it's stepping up. So the other side of this equation that you should be able to see is this is the bullish buy zone. This is the bullish buy zone. This is the bullish buy zone. You see that? So because I'm a trend trader, I'm going to stick to this belief system more. So even though this is obviously a profit-taking zone, because it's a weekly now. Remember, this is let's make this red, and I'll make it highlighted. Okay, so this is a weekly top. So we know that. There's no doubt. Okay, we're doing weekly analysis on top of daily analysis, but it's still, in my humble opinion, according to my belief system, which might be good, bad, ugly, right, wrong, right? It's just, I'm still not ready to sell it. But if I was a bull, that would be a great place to take profit. But also, what am I going to look for? Well, somewhere around here, I might be a buyer. So now I have to look at, is there a psych level? Oops, psych. That's supposed to be psych level. Is there a pivot? Is there a role reversal? Is there some reason of support? If so, I have permission to engage as a bull. Or I say, because we're too close to the top, I take a walk. But I'm not thinking selling, even though I know it's going to come down. And like I said, is that the right way to behave? Not necessarily. Not wrong, but it's not necessarily right either. I mean, you can do whatever you want. If you perceive what's going on, you can sell these just as much as you buy them. Now, I think if you swing both ways like a broken gate, you forget what you actually want to do, and eventually you get lost in the middle, but that's me speaking from my experience, right? And as a hedge fund manager managing a fund, I would have portfolio managers, right? Multiple portfolio managers specializing in euro dollar. Some would be bulls, some would be bears, and we would always do the right thing at the right time. Because a bearish portfolio manager in euro dollar is only allowed to sell. So they're not looking at this from a buying point of view. They're not looking for this stuff to buy. They're not looking for support. Undo. No, undo. Okay? What they're looking for is, oh, a counter trend scalp. For example. And they might be on this. And they're like, yeah, it's just a scalp, and I'm throwing one down for the boys. Throwing one down for the girls. Okay? And they're jamming their stop. Meanwhile, the bullish portfolio managers are saying, oh my God, thank goodness we took profit up here. So what are we going to do tomorrow? I don't know. We're looking at 123 as a potential buy. And now they're setting up a buy. And the benefit of this is bears always sell high. Bulls always buy low. Both are cognizant of the directions, so they understand. A bear understands that this is going up, so they only scalp down. And bulls understand it's going up, so they only swing high. And the firm is always 100% correct, or whatever, theoretically anyways, right? You can't be 100%, but you get what I mean, right? You're doing the right decisions on, like, how aggressive should I be? How long will I be short? How long will I be long? What is the right price? You're not making decisions in here. And that's where amateur retail traders make their decisions, right? Now, the bigger interesting thing, and this is sort of a swing trader, position trader, trend trader question that we will have to address over the course of this week is, does this create the giant risk off we've been waiting for? By risk off, I mean profit taking. Is this it? Is this the sign? God be praised, right? You know the scene in The Life of Brian where he's running away from the crowd and his slipper falls off, his flip-flop or whatever you call it, his sandal. And they hold it up. It's a sign from God. It means he wants us to follow us. No, he means that we should do this other thing. And they're all debating on what it means. Like, it's a sign, right? Right? Allah Akbar. It's the sign we've been looking for. Meanwhile, his sandal broke while he was running away, right? So anyways, we're always like, is this the sign? Is this the big profit taking? Profit taking, okay? Is this it? I don't know, okay? And should we abandon that? I don't know. That's why it gets more interesting, right? That's why it gets interesting where I said, if I get these trades right, I'm not interested in only making 100 pips. Do you guys remember that? And that's what these decisions are here. If you took a shot up there, I find it aggressive. I can always get back in later, right? I can do this if I'm a bear. But if you took this shot, I would hold that short for a month and a half if I could. Okay? You get what I mean? If you're going to trade against a trend, why the heck would you not want to get seriously paid for trading like you have a crystal ball? Like, you did the one thing that no one else was willing to do. And you're like, wow, I'm going to pick up 35 pips. You're like, really? You did all of that. You shorted an obvious uptrend for 35 pips. How much does that actually worth to you? What, did you buy a Starbucks latte with that money? Right? And if it's serious money, then you're not doing it right. Too much risk. So here's the real question for you to really, truly ponder. What does it mean? Okay, we're in a buy the dip zone now. Are you buying it right now? Because remember, someone got up here and we hit the 123.50 area. Somebody said, that's the take profit zone. That's the exit zone. That's the sell zone. That's the counter trend scalp zone. They might have waited all week for this. One of the things we did in the swing trading group is I said, look, what we hope, what we all expect. Okay? So for example, in the swing trading group a week ago, I had all the groups come up with trade plans and bring their best trading idea to the group, and they all did their presentations, and I said, here's the risk. Everyone, all 6 groups, so like 30 or 40 people, all got together, and they all said about the same thing, whether it was euro dollar, USD CAD, euro yen, whatever it was. They all basically said the same thing. Like on this euro dollar trade, they all said some form of this. And I'm like, wow. Nobody said, what if it goes up first and then down? Okay? And I said, you need to really prepare for that. What's the contingency plan? Right? I said, you need to think about it. You need to write it down. You should probably draw it out. And you should probably print it and put it on the wall where you have plans all laid out. If this happens, then I will do that. Okay? That sounds generally right, Mahai. Yes. Okay. Yes. Doesn't make any sense, right? Isn't it confusing? Oh my God, that coffee's good. So what are you guys going to do if that happens? That'd be great. This would be great. I'd be happy with that. I don't have to be the first one in it. MT5 pivots. The crashes are terminal? I have no idea why. I can remember everything, but I can't tell what's true or dreams. Deep down inside, I hear my screams. The terrible silence stops me. Here, I'm looking for something. It's hard to find something when you don't know what it's called. There's not much left of me. All that's real is pain now. Hold my breath as I wish for love. What am I looking for? Not that, not that, not that, not that. This is a weird way of searching. Not that, not that, not that, not that, not that, not that. Not that, not that, not that. Not that. Huh. Hang on. I thought I had MT5 on this machine somewhere. I can't find it. No. Must have been my old machine. All right, so let's go back to this. Cool. So that's why I say if you're going to be right, be really, really right. The Spice Girl song. I think I said this a week ago. Cool. So we got a lot to do. Okay. Now how about the piggy? Let's go to dollar pivots now. Piggy, piggy, piggy. Piggy, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your moves just hypnotize me. So if I had done this one, which is a very obvious sell, it doesn't get more obvious than that. This is the exact time of day that the group met live on Sunday, expecting dollar strength and pound weakness. So if you had sold there on this exact hour, look at that, right here. If you'd sold that, you'd still be profitable, despite everything. So your question, your next, thought process is what happens today and tomorrow. So you might want to have a process. If dollar is weak because the perceived increase in spending from the government before actual economic analysis, because you've got to remember, most of the market is stupid. They think very amateur, elementary thought processes, and they say, Democrats won, spending goes up, boom, right? And they make a decision. You're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, if you actually break down the components of GDP and look at how this will affect each of the subcomponents, most of it is actually neutral. So you're throwing stuff down that doesn't make sense, but it doesn't mean it won't happen. Okay? Because the market will do what the market do. So you might say, if the market is US dollar weak for whatever reason, you're long euro dollar. If we're in a scenario where US dollar is strong, you are short Great British Pound dollar. And you can make up any reason why. It doesn't even matter. Why? Well, Brexit isn't a good deal. Why? 1 in 30 people in London has COVID. Good enough. They're going to be slower to the recovery. But I'll tell you, once we get through all of this, Great British Pound will probably be a great buy because they will have more to recover. Right? Because they're more adversely affected in the moment right now than many European countries. So once euro dollar has its day in the sun, pound dollar will have its day in the sun. But right now, I would split the analysis and say, our risk is, you don't want to be neutral during this period. So you're going to have to break it down and say, in periods where the dollar is weak, you buy euro dollar. In periods where the pound is strong, or the dollar is strong, you sell pound dollar. And one of those might be right. Hopefully one of those is right. Probably one of those is right. Yes, the 10-year T-note is above 1%, and that's because people are getting out of the bond market. Why are people getting out of the bond market? They think the stock market's going to go up. Why do they think the stock market's going to go up? Because the government's going to give them free money. Okay. Okay. So, if I was going to swing both ways like a broken gate, that's how I would do it. I'd find the thing I think would go up, and I'd find the thing that would go down, and I would try to do that. Yeah, the checks arrived. Yeah. I have no idea why we got checks, but I got checks yesterday. They even mailed us checks. I don't even understand. I don't know why they're giving us money, because I made too much. Right? I made way, way, way more than I thought there was, but I don't follow these things. So for some reason we got a check, 2 checks in fact. I don't know why. Honestly, I have no idea why, but the checks arrived yesterday. So the free money stimulus package stuff, yeah, I got them yesterday. Very strange. I don't know why we get these things. Honestly, I have no idea. So I think I know what I want to do with my stimulus package. So we got 2 checks for like $250. One in my wife's name, one in my name. Honestly, we filed jointly. Like, I don't know how this worked. And I thought there was a cutoff. Like, I don't dive deep into these details. I just assumed I didn't get a check. But I heard, somebody told me, a bird landed on a tree and whispered in my ear or something. I thought there was a cutoff, like $180,000 or something. Now, Mahai, we already do all that nonsense. It's not nonsense, but I'm not going to do it because the government gave me a check. Right? My children and my family volunteer 2 or 3 or 4 times a year. I mean, we work at homeless shelters. We go to, what do you call them, pet adoption agencies. We go to food banks. My children do it on a regular basis. honestly, for years and years. So we do all that. But anyways, I thought if you made more than $180,000, you don't get a stimulus check. So I don't know why I got a check, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. But we got them. So I was thinking about buying Far Cry 6, the collector's edition. You get a flamethrower with it. A replica, 72 centimeters long. So about 2.5 feet long, big, is a replica flamethrower. And I thought, oh, I can give that to my son and get some fart, right? Oh, is that what it is, Jim? There's a point where it's just reduced? Oh, so you're saying if I had earned less, each one of those checks would be $600, right? Well, then we have 2 kids too, right? So it would have been $600 a person, or is it $300 a kid? So I guess we got $500 instead of 1,800 or something, right? Something like that. Yeah, well, HK, it's very cyberpunk. It's very cyberpunk, for sure. Or steampunk kind of stuff, yeah. Is feeding homeless people illegal? Being homeless is illegal unless you live in Massachusetts. So anyways, so that I've never seen the government respond so quickly though, right? What was that? In a week, I got a check. We got 2 checks in the mail, so interesting. So the last time we got money, they wired it to us. This time they sent us checks. Like, why is that different? But I took the family to Florida and we gave it to people that work in Florida. Right? I think it was Airbnb got some money, right? And the renters, the people that own the beach house, they got money. And the restaurants got money, although I don't think I'll ever go to Margaritaville ever again. It was just the most disgusting food ever. And they're right next door, like literally on the dock, where there's boats that come in with fresh fish. And Margaritaville had no fresh fish. I'm like, and everything they had was fried. I'm like, what the hell is this? So, the ice cream shops, and my daughter got a henna tattoo, and so they all got money, and the parking lot attendant people got money, and yeah. So that's what we did. We gave it to people that work in Florida. And one of the guys I met was one of these, it was not flavored ice cream, but it was something like that. My daughter really thought it was cool. She's like, Daddy, 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 can I have one? So about everybody, these ice cream things. I can't remember quite what they were. They were not Dipping Dots. They were something more special. But anyway, so I talked to the guy, though, and I'm like, so how is business coming back? Because you got to remember, this was in June, right? So everything had just been shut down and just reopened. Right? So anyways, so I'm talking to the guy and I'm like, so is business coming back? How are things going? Because I'm an economist. I talk to everybody. I'm an entrepreneur. I care. And he's like, well, I'm doing this gig, right? So I'm here. He's like, I'm here a Friday, Saturday, and I think it's Friday or Saturday. But what he said is, so he's got like this little booth, and it was sort of in the back around the corner, kind of like treasure hunting kind of place on the dock. Very touristy though. And I thought, okay, I'll talk to this guy. And he says, well, even though this is on the coast of Florida, he said the next day he was packing things up with a trailer, and he was going to drive about 7 hours to do some sort of sporting event in Atlanta. I can't remember if it was soccer or basketball or whatever was going on in that time of year. But he would have to drive 7 hours to make his daily bread and then drive 7 hours back to Florida. Like this is what people were doing. So I was happy to buy 3 cups of ice 3 cups of ice cream for $20, right? So that's what the stimulus package went to. I immediately gave it to people that needed it. Cyberpunk is the biggest scam. Okay, so maybe I don't know what you mean by cyberpunk. I know steampunk. So anyways, interesting. So that money is going to come to bear. So we'll see. Right? We can go back to pivots. Yen pivots. And it's just eking out a living. Short at 41. And so I'm back up 100 pips profit, right? I think it's the only trade I got going. Yeah, 112 pips profit. And that's not a good trade. Oh, it's a game? Oh, okay. Why would it be the biggest scam in gaming history? That's hyperbole, huh? All right. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. Meeting as a group. I'm looking forward to it. Have I found a programmer? Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll have to follow up with him today. I have some sad news, and I'm a little bit pissed off. Actually, I'm quite a bit pissed off. I know that's strong words. Strong words for Wayne. Almost emotional. So I'm building logos. Yesterday we talked about I want to write a book called No FOMO, and I bought a website for it, and I had logos made. Right? I bought the website last week. I got an email last night after our webinar where we were talking about, I should write a book on fear. Okay? I made some progress. I started planning and everything. And I get this email from GoDaddy. Hey, you remember that website you bought last week? The one you paid money for? The one that we said you owned? Yeah, it turns out he doesn't own it anymore. Sorry, here's your money back. Oh my gourd. Oh, you're freaking kidding me. So anyways, no book. Blame GoDaddy.com. They sold me a URL that they didn't own. Yeah, nomofomo.com. Yeah, sucks though, huh? They're like, yeah, sorry about that. Here's your money back. Whoa, what? I don't want the money back. Give me my damn URL. Go find it. Yeah. So, boo. Boo. Yeah. Is that right, Jim? Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, right, Michael? Like, I felt like we had something, but so. So, I wouldn't have said anything yesterday if I hadn't been told I owned it, right? No, I don't want to do that. It's just not good enough, TA, but, All right, so we'll just leave it at that. Boo, yeah. So, too bad, so sad. All right, check these out, though. One of the things we talked a lot about in the swing trading group and here is the importance of trader psychology. And how do you deal with FOMO, right? So let's stick to that kind of theme right in the moment. one of the ways you deal with it is you pat yourself on the back and reinforce your learning experience over and over and over again. I don't care if you've been doing this every day for 20 years. You have to continuously build your confidence. Because if you don't have confidence, you have fear. This is the same thing where I talk about, maybe I didn't say it very clearly yesterday, but it'd be like an NBA player, right? Playing one-on-one against me. And I put up $1 million. I'm like, look, if you can beat me, I'll give you $1 million. Why doesn't the NBA player have fear? Well, they're confident, and for good reason, that they can beat me. Now, their confidence comes from years of practice and experience, right? So, do you have years of practice and experience? And here's the interesting thing. You have to remember your experience. You might be someone that only remembers the negative stuff, and it's going to be very difficult because you're never, right? It's going to be difficult to build confidence. One way to address these kinds of things, whether you're optimistic or not, is that you can say things like, institutional investors absolutely use the same tools that you use, and that you can anticipate the behavior of institutional investors before they've even behaved. You can anticipate the behavior of institutional investors before they actually do anything. In a way, you can predict the future, where you could say at 80.5245, is that right? Or 32. At 80.3245, market participants will begin to exit the market. You could also say, as a bull, that you wanted to buy this at 79.0105. 79.01 is the price you want to buy, if you're a bull, of course. And if you're a bull, this is the price you would expect the exit. Now, whether you're in the trade or not, whether you're a bull or a bear or not, you must build the confidence and gain the experience. Remember, experience only matters if you can remember it. If you don't remember it, you didn't actually experience it. This is why I try to get you guys to remember whatever I can do. Can you imagine sitting here every day for a year and you only remembered 3%? Then 97% of the time you're sitting here didn't exist because you don't remember it. It's right? It's an imaginary construct of your brain. If you don't remember it, it never happened. What I said 12 minutes ago may have never actually happened. You don't remember it, so how would you prove it? Oh, well, I can rewind the video and watch it again. Well, if you rewind the video and watch again, you might actually remember it. If you rewind the video again, listen to what I said, and then document it, you might actually remember it, and all of a sudden you were actually alive. If you can't remember, you were dead. It never happened. It wasn't part of your existence. It didn't exist, so therefore you didn't exist. Okay? So, whether you're a bull or a bear or not, it's irrelevant. You want to have the experience of saying, the tools I use are the correct tools. And I know for a fact that large institutional investors trade just like me. And because you know what they're going to do, you can create a living. You can have a valuable business. Why is your business valuable? Because it actually creates value if you do this for other people. Has nothing to do with your time. It has everything to do with your value creation. You should feel good about that. You should feel positive about that. You should feel confident when you're in the market. That's what you need to walk away with. Because you're like, I can do that. I can do that. I can do this. I can do this for me. I can do this for him. I can do this for her. A man, a woman. Okay? Okay? The other thing I think you should do is every week you should find a chart like this, print out where the bulls would, right? Where the bulls would buy, where the bears would sell, and follow it. Okay? Follow it. Try to remember and try to reinforce that you can predict the future. With reasonable certainty, you know where bulls are going to buy, where bears are going to sell. Now, take it a step further. If you only bought where bulls would buy every day or every week or every month, whatever the situation is, if that's all you did, you only bought where bulls buy. At the end of the year, you will be profitable. Girl, you know it's true. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love you. Yeah, Alton got it. Yeah, well played, Alton. That's pretty funny. Okay, now. Yeah. Okay, what about fear now? If you had made a declaration, okay, if you made a declaration that you are a bull, and whatever time frame you trade on, let's say an hourly chart with daily pivots, okay, or let's say a 15-minute chart with daily pivots, hourly chart with weekly pivots, or monthly chart with 4-hour pivots, or some combination thereof. All you do is buy at support. Your confidence is better when it's trending up. Your confidence is waning when there's a downtrend. But you know you're always looking for support. What's the next level of support? What's the next level of support? What's the next level of support? Okay? Remember, the first question is, what direction is the trend? Where are we going? The next thing is, where's the next level of support? If I can't buy here, then at what price will I be interested in buying? And that's all you did today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next quarter, next year. And all you did was buy in favorable conditions. Yes, your trading volume would drop significantly. But would you be profitable? This is now a question. I want you to stretch your hand out to your keyboard and think about, in the language of English, type out the letters, yes or no, to answer the question, if that's all you did, would you be profitable? So think about your answer, translate that into typing on a key. So you have to hit the right keystrokes, and you have to know where the letters are. Type out the language in a tactile fashion, and maybe, just maybe, you'll remember. Because then, if your answer is yes, why do we do something different? That human spirit is such a strength, but oh, it brings so much struggle too. Okay? Now, maybe you do this for the next 3 years. Okay? And you survive the next 3 years, and you're reasonably profitable the next 3 years. What is your confidence level like now? I think you'd be very confident as a trader. You know what you want to do before you've ever even done it. Always. Absolutely no fear. And in year 4, you decide you want to add a little bit of finesse. You want to learn something additional. Oh, that's fine. That's totally fine. Okay? It's absolutely totally fine. And you do that new thing for another 3 years. So 6 years has gone by, and now you're very, 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 very good and confident in 2 different things. Whatever those 2 things there is. One is identifying the direction of the market and buying at support. The other might be counter trend trading you've added, or maybe scalping into your swings, or maybe it's just seasonality. So you say, you buy in May and go away. Maybe you become more of an expert in monetary policy and central banking. So you at first, in your first 3 years, you trade like a swing trader. Because whether it's a monthly trade, a weekly trade, or a daily trade, it's all part of swing trading. Swing trading is catching moves. Okay? The trade of the day, the trade of the week, the trade of the month. But what if you're in year 4, year 5, and year 6, you start practicing, probably take longer than that, year 4 through year 10. You say you also want to trade like George Soros. Support has nothing to do with it. What's support got to do with it? What's support? The second devotion, right? Self-fulfilling prophecy. George Soros says, oh, did you see what Jay Powell said? Good, sell the dollar. Sell it all. Keep selling. Sell, sell, sell. Sell for every time you have an opportunity. Sell for the next 5 or 6 years. Huh. Well, that'd be interesting. You're already good technically, so you add that kind of fundamental conviction behind your technical trading. Hoy vey, monster. Yeah, ZAR's getting, it's doing its own thing. It's got stuff going on over on the Randy. We can look at Randy. Oops. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Okay. I was short this yesterday at 15. So, if I recall, it was like a 4-hour 21 or something, or 4-hour 200. I can't remember. It wasn't a trade I liked. So I'm happy to BE on it. Actually, I screwed up. Well, there's so much volatility with this trade, with this chart. It's funny. You can make or lose, let's say, $100 every couple of seconds. And so I jammed my stop. It didn't work. It just, I wasn't comfortable with it. I'm glad I'm out now. But I totally screwed up because it hit my stop and then came back and I got knocked out for a profit. terrible. It was like I made like a half a pip profit. I made a half a pip profit because it jumped up and let's say it moved like 50 pips and then back down in the time it took to execute. So like in about a half a second, it moved 50 pips, right? Well, not 50 pips, 5 pips. But anyway, sorry. You have to translate everything back into, because it's not even real money. It's only rand, right? So anyway, so yeah, so I went from, I think, negative 50 pips because I jammed it at like negative 5 because I knew the volatility and stuff. And it went from like negative $50 to plus 6. I think I closed and I made $6, which is equivalent to 0.6 pips. Oh, the worst outcome possible. The worst. Because that would ruin, right? That would ruin your trading results, or at least the numbers, right? So yeah, I risked $1,000 to make $6. You're like, hey, that was a good day. Boom, Starbucks, everybody. Let's go to Starbucks and blow the whole wad. So, anyways, it was just. I look at it now because, yeah, that I'd be out $500 or $600, right? And this is probably close to $1,000 if I had stayed in. So, anyways, know what you're doing before you do it for sure. So Rand, I forget. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I forget where we were. Yeah, I guess I shorted off the 200, which is not a good idea. The 200 is a target, not an entry. So it wasn't a good trade. So I'm glad I'm out. Remember, I feel better about the losses than the wins. And I took a shot there, and it wasn't. That's not a good setup. I didn't behave appropriately. I sold it off a psych level at perceived resistance, but it's not resistance. Do you know what this is? Yeah, Oz says a negative, bad Sharpe ratio. Yeah, so imagine now over the course of the day, I was down $500. Oh, I have to do it this way. Delete. I was down $500 at one point, let's say. That's the volatility. But I made 6. You're like, no, the worst. So the Sharpe ratio for that one trade is just crazy nutso, right? No, what is this? If it's not resistance, if it's not support, what is it? No, I sold that, yes, but I'm looking at the moving average. There's a definition here. So there's more to it than a psych level, sure. But is that good? Is it bad? This chart is actually telling you something. No, you see, you guys don't know it. Aha. See, you guys don't know it. What does the 200 EMA equate to? Dude, this is right out of the training course from 20 years ago. Neutrality. Brinsley got it. I bet you Brinsley watched the trading courses more recently, right? That is the fair market value. The price in which both bulls and bears agree, which means the market is neutral. Okay? So I bet you Brinsley watched the videos in the last 3 weeks or something. Oh! Well, why are you wasting time doing all that? You could speed this up, Brinsley, even though you got the answer right. It's like $300 or something, right? 400 bucks, sorry. 382. But anyways, so it's working, but you can get to where you need to go faster is all I'm saying. All right. So this is fair market value. So this is why I say in my book and in all the training courses, the 200 EMA is a counter trend target, but it's not an entry. I'm not supposed to buy or sell there. And I sold it there. And it was not a good trade. I realized it fairly quickly, and it provided nothing but angst, really. And of course, then it screwed up my numbers. So it wasn't good. So I have to punish myself a little bit. But at the same time, I knew I had done something wrong. I think I was up $300 for a while, $400. But I realized what I had done. I don't know why I did what I did. It was one of those things, right? Right. So I hope you're okay with me being openly critical with my own behavior, right? I don't feel good with the entry, but I feel good with the exit in the sense that I knew I had made a mistake. Even when I was up money, I realized, what was I doing? What was I thinking? Why did I do that? I get it. I get this, but I forgot to check that I was at the fair market value. So I changed my risk management to say, I shouldn't be in this, even if I'm making money. I need to adjust. And so I moved my stop and got knocked out break even, right? And if I'd stayed in, by the way, gee whiz, what is that? It's probably $1,000 right there, huh? $800 per lot. I made it. Instead of losing 800, I made 6. So maybe that's good, I guess. I don't know, but I'm glad I wasn't stubborn. I'm glad I saw reality. I'm glad I wasn't. It must have been I just didn't behave properly. I saw the trade, but forgot my strategy, if you will. And that can happen, right? So I was weak there. I was weak. That trade was weak, a little bit sick, right? So I culled the herd. Right? You have to destroy the sick and the weak. Cull. You have to cull. Selectively slaughtered. Okay. So I slaughtered that weak, sick trade. Rims to go. What the heck was that? Rims to go. Anyways. Cool. Anyways, so I hope psychologically you feel good. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm interested in how the market behaves. Right? I'm actually quite interested in how the market will interpret the election news and how it has to be the lead. Remember, I'm not trying to predict the future. I am not trying to outsmart it. Okay? What I'm trying to do is predict what people are going to do before they do it, so that I can recognize where I am in the moment. Can you guys see the difference? I'm trying to have situational awareness. So if this is going to rally up first and then come down later, I need to be in tune with that. The worst thing I could do is keep doing something wrong because I think I'm right. Okay? And so that's why I think tomorrow we'll do some market research and filter through what we think versus what we know. What do we know? Okay. So what was a key takeaway that you learned today, if anything? What is your one bullet point that you're going to document under the recording, in the comment section under the recording? Was there a key takeaway today? Is something as simple as a 200 EMA is a fair market value? It's a neutral zone? No, guys, don't say that right now because it bums me out that I had it and now I don't have it. And I had an emotional commitment to using this as a learning tool, and now it's gone. Yeah. No, I know. It's just, I was emotionally committing to spending 6 months of my life turning that into something of meaning and of value, and it bums me out, right? So it's just like, oh. And that's the cool thing about being an entrepreneur. You can create something from nothing. So I wanted to take something that was worthless and turn it into something that could be very important to a lot of people. Somebody else owns it and it's not for sale and it's some random software. So yeah, don't worry about don't send me an email that tells me all the different FOMO websites that I could buy. No, I'm not interested in those. I've already done the research. Not interested. So anyway, so that's that. Okay, cool. So now I'd like to ask you to click the like button. And then in about 30 seconds, you'll be able to refresh this page and go to the recorded version of this, not the live version, the recorded version, and actually type it in the comment section. Not the chat, the comment section. And you can write that takeaway. Remember, it's important. If you can't remember it, it didn't happen. And if it didn't happen, then during that time period, you didn't exist. You were not alive. So rage against the dying of the light. Okay? Okay? And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for being on my team. Thank you to Traders Way.